I don't love you, and it's not because you've done anything wrong. Sometimes love fades, not due to actions or words, but because people grow in different directions, even when they still care deeply. I don't love you anymore, not because you've failed me, but because I've learned that love isn't about holding on forever. It's about learning when to let go. Right now, I don't love you. It doesn't mean I hate you or that there's anything wrong with you. It just means that my heart is no longer aligned with yours in the way it once was. I can't force feelings that aren't there anymore, even though it hurts to say that. Sometimes love just quietly slips away, and you're left standing with memories you never asked for. I thought I'd always love you, but sometimes time reveals that what we feel isn't what we thought we felt. It's okay to acknowledge that things change, even when we wish they wouldn't. It's hard to admit that I don't love you anymore, but it's harder to pretend that I do. Sometimes the most honest thing we can do is let the truth speak, no matter how painful it might be. Right now, I don't love you, and that's something I never expected to say. But here I am, trying to make peace with the fact that love doesn't always last forever. I don't love you anymore, and I'm learning that it's okay. I'm learning that love isn't just about staying together, but about finding peace within myself, even when things change. I don't love you now, but it doesn't erase all that we shared. I think sometimes people grow apart, not because they want to, but because they've changed in ways they never saw coming. Saying, I don't love you anymore, is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But sometimes saying goodbye is the only way to heal, even if we don't fully understand why. I don't love you, but that doesn't mean I don't care. Sometimes the deepest love is letting go and allowing both people to find their own path. I no longer love you in the way I once did, but that doesn't mean I regret the time we spent together. We were two souls who learned from each other, and sometimes that's enough. Saying I don't love you anymore doesn't come from anger or bitterness, but from the realization that what I once felt has shifted into something different, something I can't force to be the same. I thought I'd always love you, but sometimes we learn that love changes. It's not a failure, it's simply the way life works sometimes. I'm learning to accept that change. I don't love you now, but I'll always remember the way you made me feel, the good times we shared, and the lessons I learned along the way. I don't love you anymore, but I can't pretend that you didn't matter to me. It's just that sometimes feelings evolve, and it's important to acknowledge when they do. It's hard to say this, but I don't love you right now. It's not that I never did. It's just that sometimes love takes different forms, and it's hard to keep it the same when we both change. I don't love you, and it doesn't mean I'm angry or resentful. It means that sometimes people outgrow each other, even if they once felt like soulmates. I don't love you anymore, but I will always value the time we shared. Sometimes the most painful decisions lead to the most important growth. I'm not in love with you right now, and that's a hard truth for me to admit. But sometimes letting go is the only way to move forward and find peace within myself. I don't love you the way I once did, and I think it's because my heart has grown in a new direction. It's not about you, it's about me finding my own path. Love can be a fleeting thing, and I think I'm learning that with you. I don't love you anymore, but that doesn't erase the memories of what we shared. I don't love you now, and it hurts to say. But I think sometimes life pushes us in different directions, even when we wish we could stay together. It's hard to admit that I don't love you anymore, but I'm learning that we're not always meant to stay in the same place. Sometimes we have to let go and trust that we'll both be okay. I don't love you now, and it's difficult to let go. But sometimes you have to allow yourself to move on, even when your heart wants to hold on. I don't love you anymore, but I still wish you happiness. Love isn't always about staying. Sometimes it's about understanding when to part ways and wish the other the best. I don't love you anymore, and while that might hurt, I'm beginning to see that it's okay. Sometimes the best thing we can do is let go and trust the future. I don't love you in the way I once did, and that's a truth I need to face. Love doesn't always stay the same, and sometimes that's the hardest thing to accept. I don't love you right now, and I know that it's time to let go. Even though this is painful, I'm finding peace in the fact that we both deserve to find happiness in different ways.